Welcome to our channel. Today, May 19, 2025, we honor American legends who've passed away, leaving behind incredible legacies. From music icons to cultural trailblazers, their stories shaped our nation. Join us as we celebrate their lives and contributions. If you find this tribute moving, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more heartfelt content. Let's keep their memories alive together. Thank you for watching. Tuppy Dayak. What kind of rugby legend lives to 94, plays just one match for the All Blacks, and still leaves a legacy that echoes across New Zealand? Meet Ernest Tuppy Dayak, a wing from Otago whose story is packed with grit, surprises, and a recent moment that's got fans talking. This isn't just a tale of rugby, it's about a man who defined loyalty and heart. Let's dive in. Born in 1930 in Invercargill, Tuppy grew up in New Zealand's rugby heartland, where the game wasn't just a sport, it was life. As a kid, he'd chase balls across Southland's fields, dreaming of bigger stages. By his 20s, he was pulling on jerseys for Southland, showing a knack for finding the try line. But it was in Otago where Tuppy's story really took off, and what he did there would make him a local hero. In Otago, Tuppy became a force. Over 13 years, he played 101 matches, a record-breaking feat that made him the first to hit that mark for the province. Fans at Carisbrooke couldn't take their eyes off him. He wasn't the fastest wing, but his instincts were razor-sharp, slipping through defenses to rack up tries. And when it came to goal kicking, his boot was deadly accurate. He even helped Otago lift the Ranfurly Shield, a prize every Kiwi player craves. But that wasn't the whole story. Something bigger was waiting. In 1959, Tuppy got the call every player dreams of, a chance to wear the all-black jersey. It was against the British Lions, a touring side that tested New Zealand's best. Tuppy stepped onto the field as All Black number 602, giving everything in that single test match. But here's the twist, he never played for the All Blacks again. Why? The competition was fierce, and selectors had a deep pool of talent. That one game, though, was enough to cement his pride. But Tuppy's story didn't end on the pitch, it was about to get deeper. Off the field, Tuppy was more than a rugby star. For nearly 30 years, he shaped young minds as a teacher at John McGlashan College in Dunedin. Kids looked up to him, not just for his rugby tales, but for his steady presence. He poured his heart into the community, earning life memberships with the Otago University Rugby Club and the Otago Rugby Football Union. Even as the years rolled by, Tuppy stayed tied to the game he loved. And what happened next would shock everyone. Just days ago, on May 16, 2025, Tuppy Dayak passed away in Dunedin at 94. The news hit hard. The All Blacks shared a heartfelt tribute, calling him a stalwart. Fans on X lit up with memories, one calling him the King of Carisbrooke for his try-scoring magic. Even in his 90s, Tuppy held a seat at Forsyth Bar Stadium, cheering Otago on. In a 2020 interview, he admitted he wasn't sold on modern rugby's flashiness, but his love for the game never faded. His passing wasn't just a loss, it was the end of an era. But there's more to why Tuppy's story sticks with us. Tuppy Dayak wasn't a global superstar, or a headline grabber, but that's what makes him special. His grit, playing 101 games, teaching for decades, staying loyal to Otago, shows a kind of greatness that doesn't need a spotlight. He faced the heartbreak of one All Black test, but never let it define him. Instead, he built a legacy of hard work and heart, inspiring fans and players alike. His story reminds us that heroes don't always wear capes, or play 50 tests. And here's a final thought to leave you pondering. From a kid in Invercargill to a rugby icon, Tuppy Dayak showed us what it means to leave a mark. His 101 games, his teaching, his quiet loyalty, they're a playbook for living with purpose. In a world chasing fleeting fame, what does it mean to build a legacy like Thiffault's? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep his story alive. Charles Thiffault. What if the key to a Stanley Cup victory wasn't the coach everyone remembers, but a man who stayed in the shadows? Charles Thiffault, a name you might not know, helped shape NHL history, yet his story is filled with mystery and whispers of untold drama. Let's uncover the life of this hockey mastermind, and why his legacy still sparks debate today. Born in 1938 in Cap de la Madeleine, Quebec, Charles Thiffault wasn't your typical hockey guy. While most coaches of his era were former players with grit and gut, Thiffault was a scholar. He earned a physical education degree from the University of Ottawa in 1960, and, get this, a doctorate from the University of Southern California. A doctor in the NHL. That's rare. His academic edge gave him a unique lens, less about brawn, more about strategy and science. But how did a book-smart guy earn respect in the rough hockey world? That's where the story gets interesting. Thiffault cut his teeth coaching at the University of Sherbrooke and Laval University, sharpening his skills before taking the helm of the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies in the QMJHL. He wasn't just a teacher, he was a builder, turning young players into disciplined athletes. His success caught eyes, and soon, the NHL came calling. But his journey to the big leagues wasn't all smooth skating. In the 1980s, Thiffault landed assistant coaching gigs with the Quebec Nordiques and New York Rangers. He was the guy behind the scenes, crafting plays and managing egos. Some say he was a silent genius, whispering strategies that shaped games. Others wondered if his scholarly vibe clashed with hard-nosed players. There's no hard proof, but whispers from those days hint at tension. Maybe his ideas were too ahead of their time. And that brings us to the moment that defined him. In 1993, Thiffault joined the Montreal Canadiens as an assistant coach, and everything changed. That year, the Habs won the Stanley Cup, their last to date. Jacques Demers got the spotlight, but rumors have swirled that Thiffault was the X-factor. Some fans on X claim he was the brain behind key playoff strategies, drawing up plays that outsmarted opponents. Others speculate he butted heads with Demers, his quiet intensity rubbing the head coach the wrong way. No one's confirmed these stories, but they've lingered for decades. What's clear is that Thiffault's name is etched on that cup, a testament to his impact. But the story doesn't end there. After Montreal, Thiffault took his talents overseas, coaching Switzerland and Italy's national teams. It wasn't easy. Hockey culture in Europe was different, less physical, more finesse. Rumors suggest his North American style didn't always click, with some players reportedly frustrated by his rigid systems. Yet, he adapted, proving his versatility. Was he misunderstood, or just too intense? That question followed him. In 1997, Thiffault coached Team Canada at the Maccabi Games in Israel, a lesser-known chapter that showed his global reach. But after that, he faded from the spotlight, living quietly in Sherbrooke, Quebec. Why did such a brilliant mind step back? Some say he was content, others wonder if the NHL's grind burned him out. His later years were private, but his legacy never fully disappeared. On May 18, 2025, Charles Thiffault passed away, at 87, after a long illness. The news hit hockey fans hard, especially in Montreal, where X-posts lit up with tributes to his 1993 role. Some called him an unsung hero, others speculated he deserved more credit than he ever got. His death sparked fresh debate. Was Thiffault the secret weapon behind a dynasty, or a man whose brilliance was overshadowed by bigger names? Charles Thiffault's life was a blend of triumph, mystery, and quiet impact. He wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but his fingerprints are all over hockey history. As we remember him, one question lingers. How many other unsung heroes are out there, shaping the games we love? Think about that the next time you watch a Stanley Cup run. Belela Herrera. What does it take to change the world, one fight at a time? Imagine a woman who faced exile, crossed continents, and stood up to dictators, all to defend the voiceless. This is the story of Belela Herrera, and it's not what you expect. Born in Montevideo in 1927, she started as a professor, but her life took a drastic turn when Uruguay's military dictatorship seized power in 1973. Forced into exile, she didn't just survive, she began a mission that would echo globally. But how did one woman go from a quiet classroom to the front lines of human rights? Let's dive in. Belela's exile sparked her global journey. In 1973, she joined the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, working in Argentina, Mexico, Spain, Peru, Brazil, Chile, and beyond. She wasn't just filing reports, she was in the thick of it, serving as Deputy Director of the Human Rights Division in El Salvador during a brutal conflict. She observed elections in South Africa as apartheid crumbled and monitored human rights in Haiti's chaos. Her work put her in danger, but she kept going, driven by a fire to protect the vulnerable. And that was just the beginning. When democracy returned to Uruguay in 1985, Belela came home with a purpose. She joined the fight to repeal a law shielding crimes from the dictatorship years. From 1987 to 1989, she led efforts in the National Commission for the Referendum, pushing to hold those responsible accountable. Some called it justice, others said it stirred old wounds. Whatever you believe, her courage made waves, proving she wasn't afraid to challenge the powerful. But her story didn't stop there. Back in Uruguay, Belela's star rose. She took charge of the Broad Front's International Affairs Commission, shaping the party's global stance. By 1995, she was directing international relations for Montevideo's government, a role she held for a decade. Her work built bridges between Uruguay and the world, earning her respect as a leader who got things done. Yet, some whispered she was too idealistic, pushing agendas that didn't always align with practical politics. Those debates still linger online today. In 2005, President Tabaré Bosques named Belela Vice-Chancellor of Uruguay, a role she held until 2008. She worked alongside Foreign Minister Reynaldo Gorgono, steering the country's foreign policy during a pivotal time. Rumors swirl that her UNHCR experience shaped Uruguay's stance on refugees, with some claiming she influenced regional policies more than we know. While these ideas float around online, what's clear is that Belela brought her passion for justice to the global stage. But there's more to her legacy. Her work didn't go unnoticed. In 2011, Argentina gave her the Order of May for her human rights fight. Montevideo named her an illustrious citizen in 2012, and the Mario Benedetti Foundation honored her in 2015. In 2017, the Inter-American Institute of Human Rights called her a symbol of resistance. By 2018, a tribute tile marked her name in Montevideo's streets, and in 2022, the UNHCR named a hall after her. These awards paint a picture of a woman whose impact stretched far beyond Uruguay's borders. But what about the whispers surrounding her? Belela's family ties raised eyebrows. Her father-in-law was Uruguay's vice president, and her husband served as ambassador to Chile. Some online posts suggest these connections gave her an edge, painting her as part of an elite circle. Others argue her son, a filmmaker, carries her legacy in unexpected ways. These rumors, while unverified, add a layer of intrigue to her story. Was she a privileged insider, or a relentless fighter who earned every step? The truth likely lies in between, but it keeps people talking. Belela Herrera passed away in May 2025 at 98, leaving a legacy that's hard to sum up. From exile to global stages, She fought for those who couldn't fight back. Her story challenges us to ask, can one person's courage still inspire a world that's moved on? Think about it. Her battles shaped history, but what will we do with the freedoms she fought for? Yury Grigorovich. Was Yury Grigorovich the genius who saved Soviet ballet, or the tyrant who ruled it with an iron fist? By the time he passed away in 2025, the world was still wrestling with that question. His life was a whirlwind of triumphs, scandals, and mysteries that shaped the stage like few others. Let's dive into the story of a man whose dance moves changed history. Born in Leningrad in 1927, Grigorovich didn't have an easy start. At 10, his mother pushed him into the Leningrad choreographic school, but war soon turned his world upside down. Evacuated to Kostroma, then Molotov, he danced on makeshift stages while bombs fell. By 1944, he was back in Leningrad, honing his craft under teachers who saw something special in him. That grit, forged in wartime chaos, set the stage for what came next. But how did a kid from a war-torn city become a ballet legend? At 19, Grigorovich joined the Kirov Theatre as a corps de ballet dancer, quickly standing out as a grotesque performer in roles like Nurali in The Fountain of Bakhchisarai. Offstage, he was already experimenting with choreography, staging small works like The Stork at a local culture palace. These weren't just side projects. They were a glimpse of his ambition to rewrite ballet's rules. And what happened next would shake the dance world to its core. In 1957, Grigorovich got his big break with the Stone Flower at the Kirov. Teaming up with designer Simon Versaladze, he blended Soviet drama with lush symphonism, creating a ballet that felt alive and new. It wasn't just a hit, it was a turning point, proving ballet could tell bold stories without losing its soul. This partnership with Versaladze would define his career, later transforming the Bolshoi's aesthetic. But bigger challenges were waiting in Moscow. By 1964, Grigorovich was the Bolshoi Theatre's chief choreographer, a role he'd dominate for decades. He churned out originals like The Legend of Love and reimagined classics, making the Bolshoi a global powerhouse. His vision was relentless. Every step, every costume had to be perfect. But that drive came at a cost. Whispers of his next moves started turning into shouts of controversy. Grigorovich's leadership wasn't just strict, it was called dictatorial. Stars like Maya Plisitskaya and Vladimir Vasilyev clashed with him, frustrated by his control over the repertoire. Then there were darker rumors. Some fans still whisper that Grigorovich's pressure crushed dancer Meroslipa, maybe even speeding his early death. Those claims have never been proven, but they've haunted his legacy. Reports from the time paint a picture of a man who'd rather break than bend. So why did the Bolshoi stick with him so long? The answer came crashing down in 1995. After years of scandals, Grigorovich stormed out of the Bolshoi, leaving chaos in his wake. He didn't stop, though. Krasnodar became his new stage, where he staged Swan Lake and the Golden Age with a fresh troupe. By 2001, the Bolshoi called him back, and in 2008, he rejoined as a staff choreographer. But that wasn't the end of his story, it was just a quieter chapter. In his final years, Grigorovich faded from the spotlight, living in a sanatorium in Barvika. When he died on May 19, 2025, at 98 from pneumonia complications, the news hit hard. Posts on X lit up, some calling him a visionary who gave ballet its heart, others saying his iron grip stifled creativity. Rumors even swirled about his later years. Did he regret his battles? Or was he at peace with his legacy? We may never know the full truth, but the debates keep his name alive. Yury Grigorovich built a world where every step told a story, but his own story is as tangled as any ballet. He gave us beauty, drama, and controversy, all in equal measure. As we look back, one question lingers. Can you separate the art from the artist? Let us know what you think in the comments. and how you see his shadow looming over ballet today. Dada KD. What if a music legend's final days held secrets that could change how we see Ghana's highlife scene? On May 16, 2025, the world lost Dada KD, a voice that defined love and heartbreak for generations. At just 56, his sudden passing shocked fans, but the story behind it is even more gripping. From his rise to fame to whispers of industry betrayal and a healthcare system that failed him, let's uncover the untold chapters of Dada KD's life. Born Nana Kwaku Dua in Kwadaso, Ashanti region, Dada KD found music early. At 7, he was already playing instruments in church, setting the stage for a career that would make him a household name. By the time he dropped Odomu Anijai and Facia Fatan Nkrumah, Ghana was hooked. His smooth baritone and heartfelt lyrics turned highlife into the soundtrack of weddings and celebrations. But there was more to his story than chart-topping hits. Over 3 decades, Dada KD released 9 albums, each one cementing his place as a highlife giant. Songs like Tekie Ma and Honey Love weren't just music, they were emotions that healed hearts. In 2004, he clinched Best Male Vocal Artist at the Ghana Music Awards UK, proving his voice could cross borders. Yet, behind the accolades, cracks were forming. And what happened next would reveal the struggles he kept hidden. By 1998, Dada KD left Ghana for greener pastures abroad. The music industry, he later said, wasn't kind to veterans like him. In 2020, after actor Bishop Bernard Nyako passed, he posted on Facebook, "Our industry sucks." It was a raw cry, hinting at deep frustration. Fans now wonder if he was battling more than just a lack of support. But that wasn't the whole story. That same year, an interview with SVTV Africa resurfaced after his death. In it, Dada KD spoke of feeling tired and unmotivated, even saying he might soon join his late colleagues. Some call it prophetic, others say it was a plea for help. Reports claim he was open about his struggles, but no one expected what came next. Was he trying to tell us something? Fast forward to May 2025. Just 6 days before his death, Dada KD was partying with family in the US, full of life. He was gearing up for a big London concert on May 25th, even visiting a visa office the day before he collapsed. His manager, King P, said he'd only complained of mild malaria symptoms that morning. But by afternoon, he was unresponsive, rushed to a hospital that couldn't save him. And what happened next would shock everyone. Reports surfaced that Dada KD was turned away by 3 hospitals before reaching Gorbey Government Hospital, where he passed around 4 p.m. No doctors were available, sparking outrage and questions about Ghana's healthcare system. Fans and insiders are now demanding answers. Could better care have saved him? The debate rages on, but there's more to unpack. Social media buzzed with rumors after his death. Some claimed he was broke or battling mental health issues, pointing to an old video from a 5-year-old interview. King System, his death. His manager, King P, shut down these claims, saying the video was outdated and Dada KD was doing well. Still, the whispers persist, leaving fans wondering what's true. Was he struggling in silence, or were these just rumors gone wild? Dada KD left behind 5 children, a fiancé, and a legacy that highlife will never forget. His music, from Songhai to Ebebowo, still echoes in Ghana's heart. But his death raises tough questions. Why was a legend turned away by hospitals? Why did he feel the industry failed him? As tributes pour in from stars like Empress Gifty and fans alike, one thing's clear: we need to support our artists while they're still here. What do you think? Did Ghana's music scene let Dada KD down? Let's keep his memory alive by asking the hard questions. Fadiouf Ndiaye. A star gone too soon, the tragic story of Fadiouf Ndiaye. How does a 28-year-old football star, in the prime of his career, collapse on the field and never get up? Fadiouf Ndiaye was more than just a player, he was the heart and soul of Union Sportive de Ouakam, a Senegalese club that leaned on his grit and passion. On May 17, 2025, his life was cut short in a way no one saw coming, leaving fans, teammates, and a nation reeling. This is the story of a local legend, the tragedy that shook Senegal, and the questions that linger. Fadiouf Ndiaye was Ouakam born and bred. Growing up in the vibrant streets of this Dakar suburb, he dreamed of football glory. He joined US Ouakam's youth system, where his raw talent as a central defender shone through. By 2013, at just 18, he stepped onto the senior team's pitch, his towering presence and fearless tackles earning him respect. Fans called him the Rock of Ouakam for his unyielding spirit. Soon, he was named captain, a role that fit him like a glove. But his journey wasn't without challenges. In 2017, Ndiaye took a bold step, signing with Giraffe, another Senegalese powerhouse. It was a chance to test himself, but his heart stayed with Ouakam. After just one season, he returned, driven by loyalty to his roots. His comeback was electric. He anchored the defense and helped US Ouakam claw their way back to Senegal's top tier. To fans, he wasn't just a player, he was a symbol of pride, proof that homegrown talent could shine. Yet, no one could predict the tragedy that loomed. On May 17, 2025, US Ouakam faced Oslo FA at Stade Municipal des Parcelles Assainies. It was a typical League One match, with Ndiaye leading his squad as always. Just before halftime, after a heavy collision, he staggered and collapsed. Medics rushed to his side, but it was too late. Reports say a cardiac event claimed his life, a devastating blow no one expected. Shockingly, the match continued, ending in a 2-0 win for Ouakam, a victory no one celebrated. But what really happened on that field? Online, whispers started swirling. Fans on platforms like X began asking if there was more to Ndiaye's collapse. Some pointed to other cases, like Ghana's Raphael Dwamena in 2023, or Italy's Mattia Gianni in 2024, where young players met similar fates. Was it just a tragic coincidence? Or is something bigger at play? There's no evidence of foul play or negligence, and the club doctor confirmed Ndiaye had no known health issues. Still, the questions keep piling up. Senegal's football community was gutted. Tributes poured in, from tearful fans outside the stadium to heartfelt words from the Minister of Sports, KD Ndiaye, who called Ndiaye a pillar of the sport. In Ouakam, his loss felt personal. He wasn't just a captain, he was the kid who grew up among them, who carried their dreams on his shoulders. His legacy as a loyal, passionate leader endures, but his story raises a bigger issue. Ndiaye's death isn't an isolated case. In recent years, sudden collapses have haunted football, sparking debates about player health. Are heart screenings thorough enough? Could stress, diet, or undetected conditions play a role? No one's pointing fingers, but the pattern has fans and analysts wondering if the sport is doing enough to protect its stars. Ndiaye's loss leaves us wondering what's next. Fadiouf Ndiaye was a hero who lived for his club and his community. At 28, he had so much more to give, but his story ended in a heartbeat. His courage and loyalty will live on in Ouakam, but his death leaves questions that demand answers. Will his tragedy push football to rethink how it safeguards players? Only time will tell. Share your thoughts below. How should the sport honor Ndiaye's memory? And what needs to change to prevent another loss like this?